So here we got our little tent village, and we got gas, more exposed gas, and huh, 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 huh. That's Jewish Ann Arbor's attitude towards people who can't afford to live here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, because it's so terribly expensive. Due to inflation from municipal corruption, greed, and sex trade of immigrants, and um, drug trade supported by local law enforcement, and a blind eye turned by the municipal government and the judicial system here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Um, uh, But if you're a drug addict and you get an income like Social Security or disability, then you will be housed, because that money will go in the pot somehow, along with the little extra left over that one would have from that terrible circumstance to buy the drugs. That will soon finish them off, and a repeated cycle of more drug addicts needing homes, needing housing, to help support the corruption here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I tell no lie. I've seen from the very top to the very bottom here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. There's a lot of tents down there exposed to this, and yet there's a hospital, the ranked fifth in the country. I've already made a video about that terrible travesty against humanity, and how they work with law enforcement to cover up for the civil liabilities, civil rights violations, and police brutality against people, especially the homeless. Just recently, there was an incident of police brutality in the news here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, against a 16-year-old child at the city transit station downtown, in which that child was almost tasered, and they wasn't even a suspect in any crime. So as pleasant and clean as it all looks, and orderly as it may appear here in Ann Arbor, it's a very, very troubled, corrupt place, and a very dangerous place. Not for the same reasons a place like Detroit might be, for example. I don't think there's a gun problem here, but there's poison, there's radiation, there's injustice, there's a lack of civil rights afforded even to Americans such as myself. There's a lack of health care. I've seen circumstances, numerous circumstances, where if you don't have a select health insurance, this medical system will send you to the one near Ypsilanti. A very prejudiced, racial place to be, contrary to everything you've heard differently, or to the contrary in the news about marginalized minorities such as homosexuals being able to share each other's insurance and be considered partners, and um, civil law spouses and all that. It's a fraud. It's a front. It's all about the money here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and there's no tolerance um, for those who don't have the money. So pay attention to my websites. I'm very mad about all of this because of how it has affected me personally, and so now I'm an advocate and civil rights champion um, for any marginalized minority or harmed person um, to the terrible unlawful politics that sustain here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. A front and a fraud. Enough.